UPSC is not testing articles. It is testing who controls India. There are only three questions in this system. Who can remove a government? Who decides representation? Who gets reservation? Article 356, delimitation, and the 106th constitutional amendment. These three are not just topics, they are power mechanisms. And in 2026, they are all colliding. Let's start with the most misused power in Indian history, that is Article 356 of the Indian Constitution. For decades, it was a political delete button. What it means actually. But in 1994, the system has changed. In the SR Bommai case, Supreme Court gave a verdict that the president can impose rule, president's rule, only when there is a failure of constitutional machinery in the particular state. So what it means, failure of constitutional machinery, not failure of the government. So now here is the trap. This phrase is not defined. UPSC will test your interpretation, not memory. In the exam hall, apply these four filters called as the Bommai filter. That is the majority test. First filter is the majority test. If the majority is in doubt, go to a floor test. The governor's report is not final. The floor of the house is mandatory as far as particular state is concerned, state assemblies is concerned. And the second test is the material test. The court does not check the advice given to the president by governor or anyone else for that matter, but it checks the material. If the material is irrelevant, like simple corruption, etc., that that actually not the grounds for the president rule. So the action collapses. And the third test is the secularism test. If a state violates secularism, it is a constitutional breakdown. It is a constitutional breakdown period. And the final test is the federalism test. The center cannot dismiss a state just for a political disagreement. In the landmark Bommai case, Supreme Court gave this important test to provide president's rule in the particular state. So The trap zones are here for UPSC. We have to eliminate like corruption, financial crisis, maladministration, no floor test. These are not the grounds to declare president's rule in the particular state under Article 356 of the Constitution of India. So in the UPSC, they given based on corruption, you have to eliminate it. That is not a ground. Financial crisis, Article 360, maladministration. These are not a grounds. No floor test. It is not valid. It is invalid. So the Article 356 is not a failure of government. It is a failure of the Constitution. So as far as 356 article of the Indian Constitution is concerned, these Bommai filter, Bommai system is based to decide president's rule in the particular state. After the president's rule, the parliament may approve within the 2 months. The parliament approve may within the 2 months. If in that any maladministration or malified content of the if present, court can revive the government automatically. This is all about Article 356 of the Indian Constitution. And we are moving to the second system, that is delimitation engine. What is the delimitation? What is the core? Now we move to something more dangerous, that is the redistribution of power. Articles 82 and 170 of the Indian Constitution belongs to the direct delimitation. After every census, seats must be redistributed under Article 82 in the Parliament, under Article 170 respectively state assemblies. But India stopped doing this in 1976. Why? To protect states that successfully controlled their population. Because on that time population explode. That is why. But in 2026 the freeze ends. The conflict begins here between North and South, North India and South India. Because North having more population, but South performance is good. So the delimitation commission, its orders have the force of the law, and most importantly, they cannot challenge in any court in general. Under Article 329A of the Constitution of India, restricts judicial review, and the Delimitation Act mandates that orders cannot be challenged in court. However, the Supreme Court has ruled that constitutional courts may intervene if orders are manifestly arbitrary. Please note that sentence. Please note that words. Manifestly arbitrary. When the intentions are manifestly arbitrary, then the constitutional courts may intervene in the delimitation commission also. But you have to be very careful regarding these statements and their underlying intention, intuition regarding the particular statement in the examination. Delimitation Commission is an advisory body. That is wrong. Can Parliament modify it? Wrong. This statement also wrong. Can the Supreme Court review the boundaries? This statement also wrong. It is Delimitation Commission is not advisory body. Its advisories is binding. It is final. It is non-justiciable. So the delimitation is not geography. It is political power redistribution. Political power redistribution. And the final layer is the 106th Amendment. This is called as reservation. The 106th Amendment Act is Nari Shakti Vandan Adhiniyam. This is for 33% reservation for women. But here is the trap. It is not immediate. It depends on two gears turning first. What are the two gears? Here is the census, the delimitation. Without these two, there is no implementation. It is a locked amendment. After these census conduct and delimitation occurred, then will only this Nari Shakti Abandhan Adhiniyam will implement. You have to remind this. You have to remember this. As far as prelims is concerned, does it apply to Rajya Sabha? This reservation is applied to Rajya Sabha? Wrong. Not apply. Only for Lok Sabha and state assemblies. Is it permanent? It is also wrong statement. It is for 15 years period only. Is there an OBC quota? No, it includes only SC ST quotas only. This is also wrong statement. It applies to the Lok Sabha and assemblies only, state assemblies. It lasts for 15 years only. It lasts for 15 years. This is not permanent reservation. It includes SC ST quotas, not OBC quota. This is not just reservation. This is not just reservation. Then what? It is conditional reservation. It is conditional reservation. Let's we check four statements here. How many are these correct? How many of these are correct? Corruption can justify Article 356. This is the statement number one. And statement number two, that is delimitation orders can be challenged in the Supreme Court. And statement number three, women's reservation applies to Rajya Sabha. And statement number four, the president acts only on the governor's report. These are given the four statements. The answer is all are wrong answers because corruption is not the ground to declare justify Article 356. Delimitation orders cannot be challenged in the Supreme Court. But when the magistical, the arbitrary, the manifest arbitrary, manifestly arbitrary only judicial review will done. and comes to the women's reservation applies to Rajya Sabha. No, it is not. Only Lok Sabha and state assemblies. The president acts only on the governor's report. This is also not correct because otherwise clause is there. The phrase or otherwise means that the president can act based on information from other sources like such as intelligence reports or cabinet decision, even if the governor has not submitted a formal report, because it is not include only governor's report. President can act other reports also for president's rule under article 356. So these four statements are wrong answers. And one more thing, and let me repeat it again, corruption is not a breakdown here, not a ground. Delimitation is immune from judiciary in the first instances, usually generally immune. Rajya Sabha is excluded, state assemblies and Lok Sabha only as far as reservation is concerned for women. And the president can act otherwise also. Otherwise clause means intelligence reports or cabinet decisions other than governor report. So if you study topics you will forget. If you understand systems you will eliminate. This is how UPSC works. This is how you win. As far as these three systems, 106 Amendment Act, Delimitation, and 356 article, these are currently in news very much. So these are important topics. These are most ultra probable topics for 2026 prelims. So you have to be more cautious and more focus on these three topics, and you have to eliminate the traps, and you have to be very careful about the statements in the examination hall. Not only reading is not sufficient for UPSC prelims. You have to eliminate, you have to understand, you have to underline the underlying hidden pattern. So be very careful. I have prepared your 5-page federalism tactical note with every trap we just discussed here. Download it, revise it, master the mechanics of these systems. I will see you in the next session. I am Niranjan Ankilla. This is Niranjan Ankilla at Metis. We build rankers, not just readers. Thank you.